Welcome to Kaks Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon. And we're rolling. Kaks Bar and Podcast show. I'm here with Friends of Finance podcast, Danica and Carlos. It's a funny situation. They literally just finished filming their episode, and then I took an opportunity to get them on my podcast because literally there's no turnaround time. I literally just swapped some chairs, put on the other camera. Now here we are. I'm just gonna dive right into. I got a chance to listen to their podcast today as they're filming, and Danica is known as the mortgage fairy, and Carlos is the finance guru. I'll put all their information in the show notes so you guys can follow their show as well and kind of get to know them too. But I had some questions I was thinking about while they were filming, but I just want to dive into it. Carlos, you were talking about right now the like things are kind of tough out there, like financially. You said, because you said that a lot of people have to do like second jobs to make ends meet, and you're saying you notice a direct correlation between that and people's like there's like high divorce rates or something like that going on. Like can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, because what's going on?
Oh, just closer to the mic there.
What's going on right now is with the economy that we're living right now, and the interest rates going to the roof. Money is not enough anymore, and
One job is not enough,
and people are looking for different options, how to make a second stream of income. And something big that is happening, I don't know if you noticed, Shawn, or my friend here, Danica, is people is going into marriage failure because you don't get any more the time to spend with your kids and your wife because you're working to survive, to make sure that you bring food to the table.
So it's not always necessarily about the money. You're saying it's causing not enough time, quality time as well. Because if you're doing two jobs, you're literally left with no energy. Or if you have some time, no energy again, I would imagine.
When are you going to be spending time with your family?
Mm-hmm.
When they want to do something on the weekend, maybe you have a regular job Monday to Friday. And on the weekend, you start working somewhere else because you need to make the extra income to make it to your monthly bills, your monthly payments.
Would you say majority of Canadians are going through this, or is this like what percentage of the population would you think?
Yeah, I believe so. Don't quote me exactly, but I believe so. Maybe 60%.
More than half, hey?
And a lot of people, because I don't know if you notice, but we get the population from Ukrainians that they're coming into the country, that they don't know how the finance in Canada works. Maybe from the Latin community that is growing so much around the country as well. There are a lot of people that I noticed myself that they don't know the tools that we have around.
A question for both of you. Like, do you think that these hardships were accidental? As far as what I'm saying is, from a government standpoint, do you think they didn't think too far ahead or try to like forecast things properly when, all these financial crashes happened, 2008, 2018, 15, COVID? Do you think they're just trying to do the best that they can with how they understand, like how to solve the financial troubles at the present? Because as in COVID, you have a bunch of people who can't work, so you made things like CERB, CEBA loan, things like that. But obviously, to people who aren't too privy in finance, when you need that money out of nowhere, the government basically just creates it out of thin air, and that's what causes inflation, right? Because now there's two extra loads of money in circulation. So what I'm trying to say is, do you think that they were just thinking too nearsighted, like, hey, let's just solve this immediate next few months problem? But because like all people who are super smart in finance were projecting this is a band-aid, like it's gonna be a problem later. Now we're seeing the problem later, and it's having this ripple effect, and it's almost like, to me it seems negligent from a government standpoint.
Well,
what do you
one
guys
thing
think?
that I mean, this was huge, probably like the last 2 weeks. The government had the first time home buyers incentive. And all of us in mortgages, for the most part, there's been numerous threads about it and just comments where like, that really is not even a Band-Aid. Where like people don't qualify when they say this product is meant for the middle class so that they can get into the home buying market. No, it doesn't work. It's very much like an Attainable Homes thing, where Attainable Homes says, give me $2,000, I'll give you the remainder of your 5% down. The government said the same thing. They're like, give us your 5%. We're going to give you another 10% so that you can get into the housing market and just pay us back later. Oh, okay. That people don't qualify for it. So in I think it was 2019, it came about. That's like 5 years or 4 years ago that they came up with this. One time I was able to use it, a single one time. And then they got rid of it. And we're all like, wow, that was really kind of you. So some people are saying they're still working on something else. But I do find that, like when you're talking about CERB and whatnot, I don't know if there's enough communication. Communication is key always, right? I don't think there's enough communication about the options people have out there to get a little bit of extra income. So they are looking at getting that second job possibly, or however they can find that extra bit of income to make ends meet.
Because what I believe is that the government gonna tell you this is for everybody, and it's not true.
It's not at all for everybody.
And that's what happening. People go crazy. Oh, I can get this money, whatever. They don't specify and they don't explain what is available for them. And when they apply for it, you don't qualify. But I was told this is for everybody. It's not. And that's when it comes the frustration and everything else.
So do you guys feel like at a federal level, going back to my question, like, because when you explain it, so when you point out the flaws in these products or systems and miscommunication on, hey, it's for everybody, really it's not. It like, don't you think the financial system is kind of broken right now, as far as, because it doesn't seem like it can actually allow for things to function properly for majority of people, so if that's the case, then aren't we heading towards, like, it's getting kind of bad out there, but it's going to get worse, like, because how can it get better right now? Like how can you undo this chaotic series of events, because they're all in place. So what can be done to kind of, I don't know, like help this situation out? Like you, Carlos, you brought up off air with me a little bit about I don't know, like, governments are thinking about throwing in like a universal basic income, right? It's like, but what, wouldn't that just be exasperating the situation again? Like, where's this money going to come from? Again, you have to create a thin air. Now isn't just going to cause another inflation and then another prime interest rate hike, like over and over.
Where is the money coming from? But not only that, what are they doing this? Maybe to track what people gonna be spending the money on?
Absolutely. I was going to say that, because people get this CERB payment. They get this, even the businesses that got whatever, $40,000 or $50,000. Where did you put that money? Because the government doesn't have any say as to where you're putting that money. Some people were like, shoot, this is like a vacation for me. I can go on vacation now. Sorry, Karen, that's not actually where the money was supposed to go. This is supposed to go to put it into savings. Put it there for whether it's the rainy day fund, or you're putting it there so that, giving yourself maybe an extra $500 a month for groceries. Maybe that's where it's going to go. But the general public necessarily didn't go that route. They just spent it without thinking long term.
Yeah. Like I agree. Like these ideological moves, like a universal basic income and CERB, if the idea will make sense if the money is allocated properly. But almost everyone, not everyone, a lot of people that I know and people that I know, let's be real, like CERB was used on booze to drink the sorrows away and the boredom. And then people still ran into financial issues. I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned right now, because I'm noticing, like, in real time now, like in the last few months, like real time noticing, like lots of well, I don't know, just financial struggle with like people, like even people who are supposed to be rich, like they just because you see someone in a big house, you don't know their finances. They could be intertwined in 5 different business ventures that are all very touch and go, and one domino falls, the other 5 fall, and so I don't know. It just seems like it's a house of cards right now in my understanding of things.
I was talking to a friend of mine that he's moving to France. His wife is from France, and when we were talking, he was telling me, "You know how much I paying for my cell phone bill right now? I'm getting 30 gigabytes, international calls, 15 euros.
15 euros.
Yeah, that is gonna be what is in Canadians,
Yeah.
maybe $20, something like that.
Mhm.
Some stuff that you're hearing that they're crazy. He was telling me renting right now over there is 900 euros. And here in Canada, the renting is going to the roof. A lot of people is suffering. I don't believe so. This is not gonna change right now, and I don't know how long gonna take to change.
I hate to use the term food stamps because I think it's very much an American thing. But if the government was to set something up where everybody got a gift card or some sort of debit card that was, here is $500 to go towards your gas and groceries, that would change everything. People would be required to spend it properly. And with gas prices, how ridiculous they are right now, we have no control over that. It's what the refineries or whatever are having issues, and this one's down, and that's why gas is so high. But also, and this is, little birdie told me that each company, so say Petro-Canada, Shell, each station has the opportunity to make gas whatever they want within reason. The price of gas is, I like round numbers again, is $90 a barrel. Why are we paying $1.50? Who's getting that money? I understand paying your staff. I don't understand how to run their business or anything, but why on earth is gas this high? Because if each company in my imaginary fairy world, if each company could just take a bit of a hit, not a great big hit, just a little bit of a hit, and make the world a better place, why not? Everybody make gas $1.29. Just take 20 cents off right now, just for the next 3-4 months, just to help people out a little bit. I think that would just be ideal.
Do you think this is like a human nature thing? Because at a business level, they're like, oh, I want to help, but I just can't. Like, I need to make money, and then the mind just kind of like sees its limits to altruistic moves, if you will. Because I don't know. Because right now, it's like we're all not young anymore. We've been around.
I am 29.
Yeah, and like just being alive as long as we have. There's so many places, like situations where you can see it could have been fixed like that, but it doesn't. And then it starts to make you wonder, well, what's really the problem here? Like, how come you couldn't do the right thing, quote unquote? And I don't know. Sometimes I do think like we're headed towards another
recession,
but maybe even worse. Like, I mean, this is kind of like far-fetched what I'm about to say, but like I watched the Napoleon movie a couple months back and kind of like retouched up my knowledge about that era and time, French Revolution, King Louis and Marie Antoinette getting like, I mean, like the storming of the Bastille by, the citizens to go get weapons. Like, I mean, that was total societal collapse because their economic system fell completely apart, but it was due to insane corruption from the king. And then in the midst of all that, you had Napoleon rise up and kind of put France back on the map temporarily through, like all the wars and turf taking he did. But because it's like when things get this messy, what's left but to have history repeat itself again with a revolt, and I don't know, I'm not trying to say it's all doom and gloom, but right now, like the US is a mess, and Canada's kind of like, we're not far behind in our own ways. I mean, people can, if you just even take a look around the downtown here, there's just like people can sugarcoat all they want, but there's noticeably more homeless than ever, and just people are struggling. You feel the anxiety too. You can like see 100%. It, and right now, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like this can get better without it getting even more severely worse first. I don't know. But.
Well, I mean, this is just one thing, but I think the general public, their hearts are made of gold, and they are always willing to help. And just like in my community, for example, we have a group called Buy Nothing, and when somebody needs something, they're like, hey, instead of having to go buy so and so, does anyone have one of these? Actually, I do. Like, would you like this? And it's just helping each other out. And I think that's a big thing. We have no control over what the government does. We will eventually, soon enough, have control over who's in government, but there's like frequent jokes about the old nillies that are in government who are like, we like the way things are, we're not going to change things. Why not though? Maybe you can do something to make things better. Don't just keep it stagnant because this is what you know. How can you, as like the big government, how can you guys do something to make the world a better place? You have that opportunity. You have just the ability to make a change.
Do you guys think, kind of switching gears, but this still ties in what we're talking about? I don't know how your guys' days go, but sometimes, like, because with technology, for instance, it's moving so fast. You're always having to learn, right? Every day you're always trying to learn. And not just to keep up, just when you got the hang of something, you want to thrive now. Now you're trying to thrive and make it advantageous to you. But then the technology changes again. Next thing you know, and the thing you learned like 2 weeks ago is kind of, useless now, right? And sometimes I just wonder if, because I've noticed from what I understand, population trends now, people are getting older and older, and there's like less young people, right? Just the way it's all situating. So maybe sometimes I wonder, maybe it's just a massive miscommunication. Like maybe people in the higher levels, they're just tired, and they only have so many energy to like keep solving colossal problems that they're just kind of like, we're just gonna leave it, and then I did my part today, and then they go home. They probably have the same issues as us. Like, probably, I don't know. They probably have some friend who needs money now, or some family, and like people are pivoting, and so I don't know. Like I would like to not always think that there's some orchestrated super evil group behind the scenes, like some James Bond villain group, like like causing this, but. And I would like to think that it was just something more innocent. Like we need to be more compassionate and kind of cut people a break about all these like drastic changes you're trying to implement all the time, because that takes energy and time. Like your mom, like your plate's probably pretty full all the time. Could you imagine me just throwing you more to do that you need to like learn right now? It's like you literally can't do all that without something else giving, right? So sometimes I think that it's just, that's what's happening. Things have hit a crest where it's like, we can't improve more efficiently without just, everyone needs to take his time out. Like there's just too much momentum of nonsensicalness going on.
100%. And that's one thing I was saying about having a team. I can call out to my team because, hey, Michael might know something way more about ChatGPT that I was like, chat who? Because I don't know enough about that, but he's like a pro. Mm-hmm. I don't know enough about, and I was saying that earlier in my podcast too. You know something more about having a business, whereas I don't have a clue, but I can learn from you. And even if it's just over coffee at a time where I feel that I'm in a happy place and I'm just going to learn quickly from something And with Carlos, I'd be like, Carlos, I know nothing about this whole being your own bank, but you can just quickly share a little bit of information so that now I'm thinking, but it doesn't require me to sit there and be like, shoot, I need to read this whole book by like the end of the day. I don't have time for that. And it's not just me allocating time to that specifically. I got basketball tonight. I have to go pick up a kid. Someone is sick. I got to make sure I get to the store, get more medication. It's always something. And so when you say my plate is frequently overflowing. But when I have people, whether it's my team or my friends or someone that I know that can help me out with that, always going back to communication. It's always, you have to communicate. Don't let everything sit on here for yourself, because you will go crazy. And that's where you're saying like the old guys be like, I don't have time for this. Like stuff's happening. I don't have time to fix it. So I'm gonna just leave it as is. But there's people out there who may have a little bit more time because that's where they thrive. That's where their knowledge is, and they might have time to try to fix something. Not so much the Band-Aid effect, but they might actually have an idea. Like, if we change it this way, this is a good idea. Claro.
That's why we need to have people in different industries in our pocket. Because if I don't have the time
Yes.
to learn, like you were saying before, you don't have the whole day to read 28 pages book, right?
Nope.
That's why you come in to me and I give you a resume, what it is about,
Yep.
the basic that you need to know. For
100%.
example, I want to look for Shawn because he have his own business, his own restaurant, podcast studio, that I want to know more about it. I don't have all the time or 3 days to read and I'm looking for the right people that we have in our pocket. Let's talk about it. Tell me the insights and everything else.
But to further that point, like how long did it take for you to find me and get comfortable with me, make sure I was the right fit too, right? Like it's I don't know, things it just seems like it's just way too all over the place right now to get ahead, if you will. Because like when people are squeezed financially too, it's kind of hard to think, it's always in the back of your head. And I noticed that I just feel like right now, I don't have an exact answer, but I think the top thing that needs to get addressed federally it's getting people's finances back in a more reasonable level, because that I think was what you've caught my attention in your podcast was like, yeah, like when people are having money problems, that really triggers everything. And then just to sit there and say, oh, money's not everything, money's not real. Like I get that money's not real, but we use it. And like that's why things like cryptocurrency coming up now, I understand it, I get it. People are trying to have a back, like a second fallback plan in case the money system crashes. But even that right now, it's full of so much like not controversy, but so many
controversy.
It's controversial, but people also don't. It's like a whole other thing they have to learn now, and then as you roll into that, the people who are doing well in the old guard, you think they're just going to roll over and be like, oh, so all my money I had over here was like, useless now. So no, like they're going to combat that. And then, so I don't know. I'm not very optimistic right now how things are trajectory right now.
And I always go back to my fairy world. In this moment, how can I help you be a little bit more optimistic about something? Even like saying earlier, there's so many things I can do. So I became, after I got divorced a few years ago, I became a little bit more in tune with love languages. A hug, like a pat on the back, is everything. It's me saying, you know what, you're going to be okay. And sometimes for a person whose like plate is overflowing, like, let me just take one thing from your plate right now. And that's me just helping you with one thing, because it's maybe something I know about. If you're like, shoot, Danica, the dishwasher is sick, I have no one to do that. I'm like, you know what? I've got 45 minutes, Shawn. Let me help you with that. It's those little things. If we all just reached out and said, hey, I've got 45 minutes of time today, instead of me sitting there playing whatever game is on your phone or something, how can I help you? And if everybody had that mindset, or at least the majority of people had that mindset, the world might be a better place.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And that's why like in my world anyway, I've noticed people aren't trying to have that mindset. They're going inward to, let's look after number one, like more and more and more. You're seeing more, I don't know, just less compassion,
100%.
And I mean, like, as in, I don't know, for instance, like kind of bad news for my industry, but like water right now, due to all the situation with water, you guys up to speed with everything going on? Like, like we might be hitting a drought because of there wasn't enough snow.
Yeah.
So there's not enough water in the lakes.
Sure.
So yeah, this summertime, like there might be laws passed about amounts of water you can use.
Water you can use.
Yeah, because we literally don't have enough water to, and then, like because of less access to water, it's going to affect the brewers making their beer. So then what does that mean? Price of beer goes up. What does that mean? Price goes up on you guys that we sell, and then what does that mean? The haves and have-nots. The have-nots, people can't afford to drink. They're not going to come. What does that mean for me? Less business. Then for my world, like less business means I have to cut back on employees. I'll have to do the work, right? To save money. And it's this domino effect of these weird, that's just one thing that we're noticing, right? And then then you also have like, immigration like issues right now. And I don't know, like it just seems sometimes, when I take a step back and observe all these mega problems coming around, I'm like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
How did we get here? But I do notice whatever, like that, like that horrible thing that happened a couple of years ago with the global sickness thing, like
the C word, the
yeah,
word.
exactly. Like, I mean, that was just so debilitating globally, and we're not, I don't think we're going to recover from that without another catastrophe.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah, seems like, yes. Oh, yeah. Shawn brought the friends in finance
Yeah.
over to the doom and
And
gloom
now we're
podcast.
talking about the C word.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just thing I noticed, and I was just kind of curious what your guys' take was, because in your world, you guys are dealing every day with helping people find homes, people with their financial, situations. Because like, would you say most people that come to you guys are in they have a problem and they need it solved, or they're looking for an opportunity to get ahead?
Both.
Both.
Yeah,
Both?
100%
Okay.
Both.
Like I said, this weekend, I had 2 people come at me saying, I found your name on Facebook and you have a lot of like people are saying good things about you. Can you help with this? And I'm like, yes, I can. Like in my fairy world over here, like I can do this. Just wait, because I got this, but a little bit of this underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
So, these people are like, rent sucks. Rent freaking sucks right now. Guess what? Unfortunately, mother passed away. Mother says, I don't have money to give you in my will, but I have a house. What do I do with this house? Do you want to move into my house? And you have a free house. I can't live in Timbuktu. I'm going to sell that house. Now I have cash. So when we've talked previously about like the beneficiaries and stuff like that, make sure that's on lock, because now this person doesn't have to rent anymore. This person's going to buy a house and maybe have a rental suite in the basement. That's not going to be quite as expensive as the rental suite down the street. But even then, in the mortgage industry, because rates are higher, the landlord is like, shoot, I can't, like the rent that you're paying doesn't cover even 3/4 of my bills. So then that dips into this person's annual salary, which is already tight because kids and because, maybe illness and you couldn't work this time. All the reasons, there's 1,000 different reasons as to why that sucks. But, just one simple thing is going to help out this other person. So now this person's happier, which is going to project onto maybe where they work. There's going to be a happier place. It's like the circle, right? It's a big ring of like one good thing's happen, that's going to float down and go around. But the same thing with the bad thing. You're in a bad mood, you bring it on to a bad mood to somebody else that you work with, and so on and so forth. And it's just, they bring it home and now they're mad at home. And then that causes divorce. Just joking, but maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
But it's,
That is happening.
It's just a big circle.
That is happening. Actually, an old co-worker friend of mine, because I started posting on my social media the podcast, he reached out to me. When we connect the other day, he told me, how do you know the guru in mortgages? What do you mean? I know her as well, because I believe this is a small town and everybody know each other. You never know. And now we gotta sit down and talk about business, because people is struggling right now.
How can I help? And that's what I go back to from the beginning of this whole conversation. How can I help?
Mm-hmm.
Give me that chicken burger for free and I'll go do your dishes. Right? It's not rocket science. It's like the cost of what the meal is similar to the cost of me working for an hour for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no, I definitely noticed, Danica, you definitely have a solution driven mindset and optimistic, which is, yeah, I kind of think, look, if everything is as rough as it is, you kind of have no choice. You either change your mindset and change your approach, change how you handle your emotions, kind of basically like get used to it, and because this is the situation we're in, or you fold, really. And we're seeing too many people fold. That's what I've noticed. Like they're like, because I did a podcast a couple weeks ago that it was on men's mental health, because I had a gentleman, he was, short version, was doing so well. COVID happened. One kind of wrong business pivot, and he lost everything. So and then when he lost everything, it compounded. Like his family left him. Now he's having trouble seeing his kids. And he was suicidal. He was straight up suicidal. And but he's he decided not to do that route, and he's like slowly getting his feet back under him. But when I heard his story, it was insane, because I was like, how could that not have happened to you? He had a thriving business, and the business was about to get bought out by an even bigger business, but they said, we'll buy you out when you grow it to this number. So then he upgrades everything, starts to scale his business up. Business is booming, but then COVID happened, and then COVID did not allow his business to even open his doors. So then he started going down, and his business had like real high bills. Like, it was a cosmetics business, and like the government relief money was nothing. It was peanuts for him. It's like that barely did anything. But when I see that, and then just the lack of not compassion, because like I don't think that's the word. I'm just saying literally no care to like that sector of industry. It was like, I was like, wow, like but what did this person, he chased his passion. He did what he was good at. And then he kind of got paid. He kind of got paid, like
100%.
Brutally paid for it, and when I saw that, I was kind of like, man, like I'll help you out best I can with, throwing on a men's health podcast, because he's at a point now where he made peace with how everything unfolded. He just right now needs people to know more, like, hey, like for him, he was talking about men, but this could be women too. But he's saying like primary breadwinner of the family, like the amount of pressure they're under now, because the game is kind of rigged, and like the people depending on it, they don't, they're not in the game, if you will. They're handling whatever else they're handling. So, but right now, I don't know, it's not looking good, So, yeah. But you're right. Like anything can help, like a hug. Like even after I did that podcast, like he was like, hey, what? I'm gonna start doing a podcast now too, and dive more into this. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what, that helped? Yeah. I just feel like at least someone heard me, because it just feels like everyone's just kind of like handout, like, where is it? Oh, you don't have it this time? Like bloop, and then, and I was like, man, that's terrible. And when I asked him, like, was there any hinting of this kind of unfolding the way it unfolded, he's like, no, I was literally, everything was peachy. And I was like, man, like human nature sucks. So it's like all along, because the lifestyle wasn't there anymore, they instantly like dipped. And I don't know, it's pretty hard to accept sometimes,
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, and yes, religion is only good for some people, depending on their belief system and whatnot, but ask and you shall receive. If you need help, ask.
Like, what do you mean, in a form of like a energetic law of attraction method, or are you talking about prayer?
Both. All any method. Like I pray all the time. And I'm like, I'll say, Lord, like I am struggling right now. I am like, I need 3 mortgages to bring myself to like a point of not only my personal gratification where I did it, but the finance aspect of it. Cause I'm on commission. So if I don't get paid unless I close the deal, I need those pays. Right. And I say, Lord, I'm like, I need something right now. I'm like, I feel like I'm failing, expenses and basketball and kids and they're growing and why, and all the things. And literally the next day, 2 good things happened. And I was like, oh, but those 2 things were actually in the works from that other source, but they came about when I needed them to come about. And it's not for everybody. I'm not saying, everybody has to believe in the same thing, but, ask and you shall receive. Yeah. If you want to ask, Carlos is like, hey, I'm stuck at this point and blah, blah, blah. Well, can I help you get past this certain thing? How can I help you get past that? There was a lady who had a nail salon years ago, and she's like, I'm just not busy. I'm like, but there's 17 nail salons that in-house in your community right now. What can you do differently? Offer another service that doesn't actually cost you a damn thing, but offer that other service that someone else might be looking for. That's just, even if it's like I said, ring cleaning. You take it if you want it, it's yours. But I offered like, you're going to be doing their fake nails, whatever. Be like, let me see your rings. Let's clean them in this solution that you can literally buy for like $6. Let's clean your rings. And I'm going to do a really nice hand massage as well. Not Reiki or whatever, but it's that time. It's that time where you have the opportunity to sit and chat with someone, let your heart out, I'm not asking you to be a therapist, but I'm a mom and I just need to talk. Little things.
What do you have that the other doesn't have?
Lots
And
of
that's
things.
it.
Yeah.
And that's it when you come into the market. Because, for example, talking about myself, how many people in the industry are that they are from the Latin community, and what is the difference that I bring into the market that they don't have?
Mm-hmm.
It's about how you present yourself, how
Absolutely.
you are there to help others when they need to be listened.
Yeah.
It's like a friend of mine sent me a video the other day on Instagram that the video was talking is we're gonna have a keyword, and every time that you hear that keyword from myself or you get a text message, call me.
Mm-hmm.
The keyword is, do you have 8 minutes? And you know something
Yeah.
is going on.
And that person needs you to reach out. You'd mentioned like mental health and whatnot. It's that opportunity to just say, I don't know how to tell someone that I just need that 5 minutes of you just to hear what's going on in my head, because it's all in here. And you're like, it needs to get out. You can't talk to your partner because you feel it's not necessarily real, but you feel they're not going to have as much respect for you. I already know that person's dealing with so much. Who the hell do I talk to? It's all in here. Find someone. Do you have a second I can just like have you as my sounding board? Sure. Reach out.
That's true.
Come to Kaks. Let's have a drink. Let's have a chicken sandwich. I'm going to bring the chicken sandwich up a couple times just so
yeah, no, it's crispy chicken sandwich, one of our most sold item for real.
100%.
Yeah. I'm probably going to get that myself after this. But I'll kind of wind this down. I know you guys only had so much time here, and thanks for piggybacking today and doing a double podcast. Carlos, you mentioned something in your pod. Your life, like you're from Venezuela and you were in retail, but then you did a complete like overhaul, right? And then you got into like finance in Calgary.
Yeah.
Like when you were going through that complete career overall, because like I have done that in my life too, and I'm sure Danica has as well. It's like, were you like, did you think you could pull it off? Like, was there like, what was the mindset? Because when you're doing a complete 180 shift, like, was you just so fed up with things not going the way you wanted in the other world, or you thought you could do better? Or was there calling? I'm always interested to hear people when they explain a total life shift.
Because what happened was I was working for the Saddledome back in 2009 until I got a job in the retail industry. And when you start working for a specific industry, you start getting comfortable. And I got a job, pay my bill back then, and help me out, whatever I need. You start growing up, and you feel comfortable going with different places in the same industry. But at some point, everything changed during COVID because you see the whole world changing. And I have a background, I don't know if I told you, but I have a background in business administration. And what happened? Why I don't use this? And I see people suffering that I decide to dive into the financial industry to decide to help others. Might as well I have the background already. A lot of people that I see in myself, they are struggling. Let's do the switch. That's it when my mindset changed and I decide, you know what, it's the right time to start.
Interesting. So it's fueled by, I want to help people. I see I have something I can give, and then you went after it. Interesting. Yeah, because right now I just know too many people in my worlds in the past and recently where they're like, I hate my job, I hate my life, things are getting harder, but I'm also thinking like, well, things are hard numerically because the system seems to be kind of rigged. But what's also you making it way harder is you not doing yourself justice and going after like something that you probably is more in your wheelhouse or something like that. I know it's scary, but it's but your other choice is to keep feeling like that all the time, and then compound all the problems we just talked about. I can see why there's a massive I don't know, loads of people are just needing whatever you call it, like drugs to feel better right now, and they're drinking to medicate, and yeah, I don't know. It might look, things might look normal on the surface. Like walk outside, well, if they don't see a bunch of people killing each other, but trust me, you dive into each people's life, it's like it seems like it's more like hurdles than good times right now, you know.
But a lot of people been suffering, complain about where they work, what they're doing right now. But are they doing something to change the situation?
Yeah, no, they're not, and that's why I'm always fascinated with people who've done that, right? Like like I gotta give myself props, you know, like I had this vision with my partner and we made it happen, and it was not
Absolutely.
easy. It was like we're not backed by anyone. We're true like mom and pop's business, if you will. Like, so to learn everything from scratch, you're talking about like yeah, I learned it all from scratch and made a lot of mistakes along the way, and some we're still paying for now, but you know, and
It's
you
a
know,
learning experience, though,
yeah,
right?
but in my brain, I always remember like, well, how could it have gone otherwise? Um, you know, I did the best with the information I had, and as well as I comprehended it. So sometimes I'm thinking like, well, maybe there isn't some super government conspiracy going on. Maybe they're just normal humans like us. They're doing the best that they think, although their thinking, in their opinion, is you know, like not exactly like on the right track or whatever. But maybe this is just it. And then sometimes life can be sucky like that. You know, just kind
You
of
look
have
at
to.
people like I don't know if it's Elon Musk, but even Donald Trump had businesses. They've gone south. They've unfortunately failed. Maybe some bankruptcies and whatnot in there, which is why you should always, if you incorporate, have your incorporation where things can fail so it doesn't hurt you personally. But it does hurt you personally regardless. But pick yourself up, back up, pick yourself back up again, and try again. For a lot of people, when you're talking about people not liking what they do and whatnot, there's a lot of people out there who have jobs that they're like, I'm literally here, I do my 9 to 5, I go home and I'm done. Like, I don't think about anything else. And they go out and do something afterwards that makes them truly happy. So whether it's going and walking your dog, walking your friend's dog, helping them out because they broke their leg, and this is me being, it's not a real situation necessarily, but they hurt their leg and they can't take their dog out for the walk. So the dog's struggling, the dog really needs to go out. You take that dog for a walk because you love doing those things. Go for a walk. It's free. Go for a walk. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Do something you love.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, I'm happy because I'm doing what I love all the time. But yeah, but I don't know, but I've empathy towards the people who've been talking to me about their struggles. Cause right now I just know they're struggling with that and all the actual nonsensical numerical BS, like as in like all my buddies' rents who've gone up, like they've gone up by like $500, man. That is all your fun money. Forget coming to my place. Like they're just like, man, like I'm left with not much wiggle room to be able to do stuff. And then and then the people who are doing better than them tell him, well, just make more money, bro. And it's like, dude, it's not like he's not trying.
Yeah.
It's like his skills are in this realm, like he's not a tech guy. He's a carpenter guy, I don't know. It's like, it's just like that whole period where I think maybe I'm screwing this up, but wasn't there that period where in the US, computer people were making fun of truckers saying, learn to code or something like that. There was like a hashtag learn to code because like they're worried about, like truckers are worried about their jobs getting automated by robots. And then all the nerds just learn to code, bro. It's like that's such a like unempathetic response. But I don't know, man. Sometimes I think maybe it's just human nature because like Darwinism, right? Maybe it's survival of the fittest, but we're not in primitive times now. We're survival with who can actually kill an animal with a spear. It's now who can do all this and pivot through all the financial chaos or whatever.
I mean, like one thing I said earlier, and even in our podcast, there's people who have like 2, 3, 4 credit cards, and you're like, that 19 to 27%, that's killing you because you're making your minimum payment. 90% of it's going to go to interest anyways. So how can I help you get out of that situation? Let's refinance your house so that you're paying 6% ish OAC on your new mortgage, as opposed to paying 20% on all these different credit cards.
Yeah,
it's shifting it, and you have an amortization. I will have this mortgage paid off in 25 years or 20 years or 12 years and 6 months, whatever the case is. There's a plan. This is going to happen, and you no longer have those credit cards right there. So you do have a little bit more cash flow because the lower payments, and you don't have those things there. It's one thing that I do day in, day out all the time because it helps. You're now paying your own mortgage instead of paying someone else's mortgage.
Yeah, I guess I think with that one, it's you just don't know what's the person's equity, and I think you can only get up to 80% anyway if you refinance. So then you're refinancing off 80% of that equity, and then you do the math of extending that mortgage, and we chuck it all down. Like if the math makes sense, then yes. But sometimes it doesn't. It might set them up in a worse situation. I don't know. But because like if the equity is only 30 grand, then the credit cards are at 30 grand, and then it's like, hey, you swapped all that out, but your lifestyle doesn't change. And next thing you know, the credit card's back up to 30 grand within 2 years, and then that's
something that people need to, like, in my opinion. If you have 4 credit cards and we're refinancing to pay those all out, cut 3 of them up because you don't need that many.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you get points on this one or you get Aeroplan miles on this one. Cut them up because that's not where you need to focus.
Yeah.
But just cut it up.
Yeah. I guess for that one, my sympathy goes to, because I have people who are working in the industry, like, so they were in the bar industry. They don't make that much on the paper anyways, minimum wage with their tips. And then most of their minimum wage, the way they had their system set up, their minimum wage, which would, if you work 40 hours a week, $15 an hour, they basically get $1,000 every 2 weeks. Like that would go to their rent, and then their tips is what they live off of. And then the little couple hundred extra there is like, maybe they'll put some on the credit card knowing like, hey, they plan to better themselves. But that whole chunk of money now is gone, just more rent and condo fees. And then the tips are going down because people are going out less. It's this domino effect. And now, like, that's why I'm like, ooh, like
totally crazy right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's what I mean by the math just doesn't add up, But hey guys, I'm going to wind this down here. Thanks for hopping on. I mean, wouldn't necessarily say that was a happy conversation, but it was a real conversation. Okay. And obviously, continue. Hey, everyone listen to Friends of Finance. If you guys have finance and questions or interested in mortgages and things like that. And Danica and Carlos are doing a great job on that podcast. And I'm glad you guys hopped on our show, and maybe we'll do another one in the future.
No, I'd love to. It's a good conversation.
I'd love to be back again.
All right, sweet. Okay, everyone, try to have a good day.
Thanks, Shawn.
Bye.
Thanks.